But you might ask, is it possible for the enemy to do signs? Yes. If evil spirits should accomplish extraordinary magical works, the providence of God must always furnish clear indications that these works are not to be attributed to God. Hello, this is Conferences on the True Religion. I am your host, Father John Okerolu. This is the third episode. In the previous episode, we spoke about revelation, whether revelation in what form they are, and whether it was necessary or not. Today, we are going to consider recognizing a divine revelation. Can man know a divine revelation? You would recall that a divine revelation is a revelation in which truths, whether able to be known by unaided reason or truths where that man could not know, if it is possible that God reveals. And now, having made known that truth, that God revealed certain truths, and in fact revealed a religion, we ask, can man know a divine revelation? Yes, for otherwise the revelation is absurd. Why is it given? Why should God manifest the truth if it does not at the same time attach to his manifestation certain sure marks by which man can know that the revelation is God's? If God reveals, belief in that revelation is demanded of man. But man would believe irrationally if there were any doubt about whether God had revealed the truth at all. Hence, man must be absolutely sure that God is the one revealing the truth to him, and therefore, God must invest the revelation with certain unmistakable marks by which it can be known as coming from him and from no one else. Again, in Revelation, God manifests truths by which man is to guide himself to his last end. Revelation is the signpost indicating the true path to God and happiness. It is also the manner by which man is to serve and reverence God. If man cannot be certain that the revelation is divine, then he can never be certain that this truth or series of truths marks the path to God or shows the way in which God wishes to be worshipped. What are the marks by which man can recognize a true revelation? There are many who will give a few. If the pretended revelation contains anything contrary to right reason or the laws of morality, it is false, since God does not lie or sanction anything unholy. If the pretended revelation contains self-contradictory doctrines, it is false, since the contradictions would ultimately be attributable to God. If the pretended revelation requires for its propagation violence and deceit, it is false, for such methods are unworthy of God's truth. If the pretended revelation contradicts a divinely sanctioned religion, it is false, since God cannot contradict his own former statements. So I'll give an instance. If, say, God had revealed a religion by certain signs, and the people in that religion believe the religion based on those signs to be divinely established and revealed. If an ulterior, a later time, another religion is revealed that contradicts that other religion, then this new one, despite all claims to signs, is false. If the doctrine that is said to be revealed is so beautiful and sublime that it seems to surpass man's natural powers of reason, then we may conclude, but only with probability, that the doctrine comes from God. If external marks, that is, facts subject to the external senses of sight, etc., and capable of being perceived by any normally constituted man, prove, example, that a certain man speaks to us as a messenger from God, we then have a sure and easy guarantee of the facts which he announces in that capacity. These external marks are miracles and prophecies. They are God's unmistakable signature and seal on the statements of the messenger, and are absolutely sure signs that the revelation is divine. Of all the marks mentioned above, the mark of miracles and prophecies is the surest, the easiest, and best. And if a true miracle or a true prophecy can be proved to have been shown by anyone claiming to speak to us with the authority of God, then we simply must believe what the messenger says, as if God himself were speaking to us directly and commanding us what we were obliged to believe. What are miracles? Miracles are sensible works beyond the powers of nature and attributable to God alone as the principal cause. It is a work which can be perceived by the external senses. It is beyond the powers of nature, that is, either the work itself could never have been done by a natural force, example, raising a dead man to life, or the manner in which the work was done is beyond natural forces, example, the instantaneous healing of a broken leg. The work can be attributed to God alone as its principal cause. That is, ultimately, it is God alone who works the miracle by reason of his omnipotence, although he may use finite beings as instrumental causes. It is absurd to deny miracles are possible. There is no contradiction involved anywhere, while the denial of the possibility of miracles implies many contradictions. Example, that God is omnipotent and yet cannot put in force an exception to one of his laws. Again, that God is all-wise and yet cannot foresee when one of his own laws will at some future time demand an exception in order that he might accomplish a special purpose, for instance, call man's attention to himself. But you might ask, is it possible for the enemy to do signs? Yes. If evil spirits should accomplish extraordinary magical works, the providence of God must always furnish clear indications that these works are not to be attributed to God. Suarez says he lays down the following methods for distinguishing false from true miracles. Consider carefully the effects themselves, the signs and the circumstances surrounding them. Consider the character of the person operating, his life and morals. Consider whether the doctrine taught in any way contradicts right reason or other revelations sufficiently proved to be divine. Consider the enduring character of the effect, for fictitious marvels cease with peculiar suddenness. Example, when it was proved that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days, that fact had to be accepted as true. And afterwards, when he lived for such a long time, that fact had to be accepted as true. The next sign by which we can tell a true revelation or a divine revelation is by prophecies. Prophecies are unambiguous predictions of a future event, especially of a free will action not foreseen from natural causes and based upon sure knowledge of the future. We may know the future by studying present causes. We may foresee the effect that will develop from a definite cause, but man's free actions cannot be predicted with certainty by any finite being. One act of the will does not come from a previous act as an effect from a cause. Man determines himself. We can only guess at what a person will do, knowing his character and habits, but the person is free to do just the opposite of what we have conjectured. Neither can the evil spirits foresee our free actions with certainty, although they may surmise them much better than a human being could. For only God is all-knowing. He alone knows with certainty all the future, all the free actions of man, and if his messenger foretells accurately what the free actions of God or man will be, then God is marking that messenger with his approval. Therefore, miracles and prophecies are sure signs of a divine revelation, because God cannot lie. God could not lead men to believe what is false. He would, if he worked miracles in favor of a pretended prophet, in whose words men would put faith simply because of the miracles. There are so many people who deny these truths. The deists, for example, reject revelation because they say we cannot know it. They are satisfied with natural religion alone and deny that there are any truths in God which can be known only by revelation. Now, God is infinite, and this fact makes it at least probable that there are truths which he has not revealed through the visible creation. Therefore, if God wishes man to know any of these truths, he must give us a special supernatural revelation of them. The actual manifestation of any of these truths proves that what we reason to as being probable is now an assured fact. Finally, indifferentism holds that every religion is equally good and the form is a matter of no consequence. But this cannot be true if God has revealed truths to man. Why has he revealed them, if not to be believed? And should the indifferentists argue that we cannot distinguish a true from a false revelation, we have proved that God stamps a true revelation with unmistakable marks of miracles and prophecies. May God bless you. Thank you.